Hello! Did you know that your forefathers were building walls using stones that are 40 meters long? Or that there is a huge ancient pyramid in France? This video presents a compilation of less famous and yet amazing ancient sites. Most of them are megalithic. I hope it will be very useful for those who are interested in finding out the true and actual history of the human race. Heraklion is an ancient city currently submerged some 50 meters underwater and is located off the coast of Alexandria. Kilometers away is located Matala Beach Cities network that covers large parts of Turkey and is partially visible in other places in Europe and Asia. Huge underground structure resembling a road has been found in the area of the Bahamas. It consists of gigantic, regularly shaped blocks. Since it resembles a road, it has been named Bimini Road. These extremely interesting pyramids are off the coast of Cuba. Hopefully soon they will receive more attention from the researchers. These stone circles are called Vasu and are situated in Gambia. These lovely elegant carvings are found on huge megalithic stones in Ethiopia and belong to a culture of which we currently know nothing. This is actually a modern piece of art called Desert Bread and is located in the desert of Egypt and has been made 1995. The Nuri Pyramids are located in Sudan and reach the height of some 20-30 meters. On the map you can see their location. The sign is small, white and green, and is shaped like a comma. The small islands east of the larger island of Mauritius are home of a vast complex of pyramids and other unknown stone structures. This archaeological site is not open to tourists. The only thing that we know about them is that they are pyramids built in an almost identical site on the island of Tenerife, which is located exactly on the opposite side of Africa. This is the lost city of Nan Madol in Micronesia. is another small island of Micronesia called Kusrai, and there is just an enormous megalithic complex located on this small island. And again, we know very little of the culture which built all this. This is French Polynesia, the islands of Marquesas, and the megaliths are called Hukuhiva. These are the Karlu Karlu stones of Australia, also called Warramungu stones. Although they do look like a geological formation, it is not clear who erected the wall-like structure. And who made the cuttings, the high-precision cuttings in some of the stones. The archaeological site House of Taga is located on the Mariana Islands. Originally, these structures were almost 5 meters high, and it is suggested that the locals would build their houses on the top of platforms supported by these enormous megalithic structures. When Captain Cook visited the Moorea Island of Tahiti, he found a pyramid that was 80 by 24 meters at its base and over 13 meters high. In 1975, the pyramid was destroyed and only a pile of stones is left nowadays to commemorate it. Leftovers of various other megalithic structures can be found in the area. In 2013, a unique discovery has been made in Ecuador near the town of Lamana. It consists of 17 megalithic structures that have the shape of pyramids. Some of them reach the height of 70 meters. Some of them are partially destroyed by what appears to be a dynamite-controlled demolition, and it is unclear who has decided to do something like that. This is the archaeological site of Gran Pajaten in Peru. It covers a large area and consists of numerous terraces and staircases. This is huge. Its bricks measure some 30 by 40 meters. It is located in Brazil. Unfortunately, there is barely any information available on this site, and appears that nobody has studied it yet. There are over 300 pyramids in China. The biggest one is some 300 meters high. That means twice the height of the Great Pyramid in Giza. In the past, the Chinese government most definitely swore up and down that there are no pyramids on the territory of China, covered them with soil, and then planted trees on them, a forest, to hide them, and that worked quite well actually, until people started seeing them from airplanes and taking photos of them. Nowadays, the Chinese government officially accepts and acknowledges the existence of these pyramids. However, their study is absolutely forbidden. There is a death penalty for those who don't like this ban and would try any possible research on their own. Most of them are as well fenced, very well fenced, and there are signs entry prohibited. You can see this type of fencing on this particular photo. And this photo is actually very rare. It was taken by a tourist who noticed that one of the pyramids has got an entry. And she took the photo and she managed to take only one because immediately after that, just out of nowhere, Chinese people appeared and started shouting at her. Obviously, it was absolutely prohibited to take even photographs from outside the no entry zone. On this satellite image, we see a pyramid connected with lines with something like a modern site. We don't know exactly what. This is a close-up of it. And that makes some people wonder if the Chinese are still harvesting the energy from the old pyramids. By the way, it's a very common site in China for those who explore it with Google Earth. Sites that appear to be ancient, and all kinds of strange ley lines or lifelines are connected with modern equipment stations. We don't even know if the Chinese pyramids are made of stone or just they're big piles of earth. It appears that there is some harder structure after all, because if it was just a pile of earth, these clearly visible steps wouldn't be preserved so well for many years. However, the stone structures are not visible on the other hand. Are they still covered with a thick layer of earth? We can't say at this point. And if you feel that the information available about the pyramids of China is scarce, then you will be even more disappointed by what you can find out about the pyramids in Australia. The most famous one is near the town of Gympie, and it's amazing how little there is written about it. Nobody knows by whom it was built, or even when, because the official authorities are trying to promote even theories that farmers built these structures just 200-300 years ago to prevent erosion on their fields. Curious how that would work. If anybody can give me some idea how carving this pyramid out of the solid rock could prevent erosion on your field, please let me know in the comments. It will be really interesting. And although it is really not known when and by whom these pyramids were created, it is definitely known that around all of them, all kinds of artifacts are being found, like for example, very ancient statue of an Indian goddess and other interesting things. And even in their current state of not being studied at all, they are the best local tourist attractions. And keeping all that in mind, still the latest news about them is they are going to be leveled to the ground with bulldozers, following the order of the local authorities. Isn't that great? These are authentic old photographs of the three pyramids near the Russian town of Nakhodka. The biggest one is 318 meters high, and unfortunately its tip started missing in recent time when the Russian government simply dismantled more than 70 meters from the top of the pyramid, claiming that they need the building materials for making a port. Inside the pyramid there were chambers constructed out of very high quality concrete, and they were decorated with various frescoes. However, the entry to those internal chambers was cut off by dynamite explosion in 2001. And it is only in recent years that actually public information has been published regarding these three pyramids. At the time when the pyramid got destroyed, extremely heavy rain poured over the city, nearby city and area for days and days without stopping, and very strong winds appeared all of a sudden as well, which is very unusual for the weather in this region. At least 140 pyramids can be found scattered all over the Azore Islands, the Azores of Portugal. Some of them reach the height of 13 meters. There is a good reason to suggest that they are pretty ancient. They could date as far as thousands of years back in time, because they continue underwater. For example, like a huge pyramid that was spotted by radars 40 meters below sea level near the island of Tenerife. The pyramid is 60 meters high, and the discovery was made September 2013. The initial discovery was made by chance by a private team, and these are the actual images that their radars detected on the sea bottom. After that, messages appeared in the mass media that a team of supposedly scientists went to the place to clarify what's that. And so the media further assures that some scientists went there and there was absolutely nothing. Strange enough, those so-called scientists did not publish any images or anything like that about the so-called nothing. I was under the impression that the science is supposed to be based on actual research. 20 meters high pyramid is located near the German city Heilbronn. Although it is quite well preserved, it is heavily overgrown by vegetation and forest. No research has been conducted still on the spot. There is a medieval fortress in the area. However, the pyramid seems to date to much earlier periods. Since 2010, a step pyramid is being excavated at Schwarzschild from Sternenfels, Germany. The excavation is done only by local enthusiasts and is quite hard because the local authorities have been piling up the local garbage here since a long time. So the pyramid is actually buried under a couple of meters of garbage. Its suggested height would be around 44 meters, and only 20 meters are currently in the open and visible. This very ancient site is called Heidelsberg and is located in Germany. This megalithic complex is located in Scotland and it's called Stanidale. A volcano named Etna is located in Sicily, Italy. Some 30 pyramids are located in the area of the volcano. They haven't yet undergone any research on the part of the official governmental historical institutions. Their building style in overall seems to be very similar to the style of the pyramids on the Azores and also those found east of Mauritius. This is a pyramid in Indonesia and it's called Candi Ketek. Our beautiful planet is full not only of pyramids but also of dolmens. While many of them are pretty roughly made, many others astonish with their high level of stonework. They display polygonal megalithic masonry with amazing precision in many cases. For example, these are the Morer Nani dolmens in India. These are the Neyagawa megaliths of Japan. Tatsuta Goboyama Kofun, Japan. This is one of the Lalapasha dolmens in the area of Edirne, nowadays Turkey. Now is the Tzziran dolmen from China. And this is the Osangri domain from South Korea. And this is the Damia dolmen in Jordan. Dolmen from Bulgaria, located near the village of Hlabovo. This is Lachan and is located in Portugal. This domain is called Bagné and is located in France. And this is La Roche from France. This is Kitts Coty, located in Great Britain. This very ancient archaeological site is called Daorson. Individuals who consider themselves historians have decided somehow or other, based on something they're trying to read on an old coin, that there has been a tribe here in the antiquity called the Orson or something like that. And the logic that they follow later on is that since that tribe must have been here, it must have built this wall. And so this becomes unofficial history. Currently, there is no scientific method of dating stone structures. In other words, there is no scientific test that will tell you when was certain stone block shaped by the ancient builder. This is not possible. The dating that is presented to us as scientific is mostly based on carbon dating, and that has some truth in it, for sure. However, it is much less than people are led to believe. I mean, this truth is the accuracy of this carbon dating is much less than the impression given about it by popular, supposedly scientific TV channels and also the history textbooks, like the History Channel or Natural Geographic. You will often hear that scientists attach dates to megalithic structures based on carbon dating. That dating is done on organic material found within the area of the archaeological site. First of all, there is no guarantee that this organic material has been placed there during the construction of the given site. For example, if today a tourist drops a croissant next to the Great Pyramid in Giza, tomorrow somebody could say, oh, the pyramid was built yesterday because you see we found organic material that we can clearly date to yesterday, and that means the pyramid was built yesterday. Another point is that carbon dating doesn't give an exact date. It gives a range which could be very vast actually. And it is the historians that pick up a certain date according to their liking and publish it as the carbon dating results for a particular historic site. Thousands of these stone elements are found in the area of Stolac, Bosnia. Official historians assure us that these are burials, although no actual skeletons have been found around, or just a couple in the vicinity. Did they really make many thousands of stone tombs for just 2-3 people? And why are they telling us that they are Roman creation, while those very same historians know very well that these spiral designs are typical for cultures much earlier than the one they label as Roman? pyramid is some 80 meters high. It is situated at a border checkpoint between France and Spain. The monument on the top of it, the red thing you see, has been built just a couple of decades ago. But the full pyramid below it is highly questionable. Officially, it is supposedly just a pile of earth that has been placed there during the construction of the highway. But looking at the pyramid itself doesn't seem to fit that description. First of all, on close-up photographs, the layer of soil that covers it seems to be of different looks than the material composing the pyramid, so it doesn't seem to be merely a pile of earth. Second of all, it doesn't fit in any way the general architectural layout of this border station. It kind of, they had to build the station at some point around the pyramid. If they were really creating it, they would place it conveniently on the side of the road. It wouldn't go on the road. And as if this is not enough, on the top of all, the pyramid seems to be oriented towards the old North Pole, like many other old megalithic structures. And there is some very vague information about some tunnels in the area, underground tunnels. And odd enough, during the construction of this supposedly pile of earth, no photographs were taken, or it wasn't recorded in video or any other way, although it happened just a couple of years ago when everybody has a digital camera in their pocket. Didn't it cross anybody's mind to take a shot of this absolutely unique for Europe construction, a large pyramid 80 meters high? That's half of the height of the pyramid in Giza. Well, in other words, many people doubt if this is really indeed a recent pile of earth.
Қасқағымда айқау ойнап күлген жарасар жас шағымда ой дүние-ай кісі жары кісіге жар болмай.
The Bosnian pyramids are a very interesting sight. It is still arguable how much of it is really artificial intelligent design and how much is natural, but certainly these stone spheres don't grow on apple trees. Many of the stones that cover the pyramid like a huge many-layered shell seem to be too regular to be of natural origin. And speaking of sites that are of unsure origin, are they natural or of artificial design, here is the place to insert Marcahuasi from Peru. Equally puzzling is what appears to be a giant statue just out there in the wild in Mali, Africa.
Балап қандай бауырына басқан менен ой дүние-ай жалған-ай жанбай өшкен арман-ай жарғалай қалғаның жанда хүреге салғаның.
The Elis megalithic structures can be found near the town of Maxar. The curious round marks on the stones are very similar to those found in Sodom and Gomorrah and were formed by the sulfur that supposedly the gods threw on earth to destroy the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Similar marks are found on other destroyed ancient megalithic structures in Russia and South America. Elixir's megalithic structures located west of the Moroccan town of Larache. Pay attention at the tool marks photographed at Petra. The only thing that we know of and could leave such tool marks are high-tech industrial machines for cutting stone. Do you notice the heavy erosion that has eaten up the corners so badly? This could serve as a classical and most typical example to be inserted in the orthodox and mainstream textbooks of archaeology for an erosion that would have taken many thousands of years, possibly even millions of years. And yet those very history textbooks assure us that these niches, caves, were carved by some unknown, very primitive tribe some 1,000 or 2,000 years ago. So-called science is turning into a very weird variety of religion, actually.
Swarupa Isha Jagatisha Akhilananda Swarupa Isha Mahesha Brahmananda Swarupa Isha Akhilananda Swarupa Isha Mahesha Brahmananda Swarupa Isha Jagadisha Akhilananda Swarupa Isha Mahesha Brahmananda Swarupa Isha Isha Jagadisha Akhilananda Swarupa Isha Mahesha Brahmananda Swarupa 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 Isha Jagadisha Akhilananda.
The old churches of Armenia really don't seem to get the attention that they deserve from the alternative history researchers. These are definitely old, amazing and beautiful megalithic sites with polygonal masonry. Pay attention on this picture. The pieces are not standard, they are fitting each other in a unique way. Officially, they are made out of stone, of course. But I question this, because pay attention to the color of the stones. We get all kinds of shades of red and blue and yellow, and it looks kind of colored. So I wonder, really, is this stone or is this a geopolymer? It is absolutely possible that the technique of the geopolymers, which is usually considered to be very ancient, along with the polygonal stone masonry, but it is entirely possible that they survived very recent times, and the churches of Armenia stand witness to that. And by the way, the polygonal masonry is not that mysterious as most alternative history researchers present it to be. If you are interested in really amazing details about it, you can find them in an episode of my Survivor series, and that is the episode on the Khmer megaliths. This is yet another amazing photo that makes me think that we have a good chance of having geopolymer technology used here. And also, it is a bit difficult to notice on the photos, but I did strain my eyesight for a long time and noticed that the stone plates, supposedly, that form the face of the wall, they are not, they are not straight on their backside, but they seem to embrace in a perfect way the rough stonework behind them. In other words, probably it was cast and made to stick to the really stone wall below it.
Akhilananda Swarupa स्वरूपा ईशा महेशा ब्रह्मानंद स्वरूपा ईशा जगदीशा अखिलानंद 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 स्वरूपा ईशा महेशा ब्रह्मानंद स्वरूपा
stone circles all over mainly the south parts of the African continent, somehow the official archaeologists don't want to dig much into this story. That is why they label them as cattle fencing. Very strange. One would want to leave a door if one makes some sort of structure for housing cattle, right? Or does the cattle fly in? Or how does it work? The thing is that many of these stone circles, those that are somewhat better preserved, in better condition, most of them clearly show no signs of doors or windows. And what we see is actually the top part. The lower parts are still underground, but somehow or other they don't want to dig. I mean, the archaeologists.
These cute creatures are the Bada megaliths of Indonesia, and they are 1 to 4.5 meters high. More than 400 megalithic pieces have been found in the area, and some 30 of them are human-like creatures. All of this is of unknown origin. A valley in Laos is full of stone jars. They have their own lids even. Their size is 1 to 3 meters. And we don't know anything about the culture that could have made them, how were they made, or what was their purpose. The name of this megalith is Ishi no Huden. It is located in Japan and it weighs some 5 to 600 tons. It is still attached to the bedrock. We don't know anything about civilization in the history of Japan that could have built anything like that. This town is situated in the desert of Saudi Arabia. Although it definitely looks like a natural stone, the cutting in it doesn't look natural at all.
Shout, shout, Eli Jirok, coming up, Lord. Eli Jirok, shout, shout, Eli
These
Jirok,
megalithic
coming
columns
up, Lord.
are part
Eli
of the
Jirok,
Baran
shout, shout,
temple
Eli Jirok,
of Yemen.
coming up, Lord. Eli Jirok, shout, shout, Eli Jirok, coming up, Lord. Eli Jirok, shout, shout, Eli Jirok, coming up, Lord. Eli Jirok, shout, shout, Eli Jirok, coming up, Lord. Eli Jirok, shout, shout, Eli Jirok, coming up, Lord. Eli Jirok, shout, shout, Eli Jirok, coming up, Lord. Eli Jirok, shout, shout, Eli Jirok, coming up, Lord. Eli Jirok, shout, shout, Eli Jirok, coming up. Eli Jirok, shout, shout, Eli Jirok, coming up, Lord. Eli Jirok, shout, shout, Eli Jirok, coming up, Lord.
Satan's a liar and a conjure too.
If you don't mind out, he'll conjure you.
If I would, I surely would.
Just stand on the rock where
These lovely stone creations are located on the island of Sumba, Indonesia. They are actually tombs of deceased members of the tribes who reside there. And the most interesting thing is that they are being created till nowadays. The tradition is still alive and everything is done manually. In 1692, a violent earthquake submerged Port Royal in Jamaica underwater, and nowadays this is a beautiful underwater city. The ancient city of Tikal in Guatemala. This most elegant pyramid is called Guachimontones, also called La Iguana, and is located in Mexico. Its diameter is 115 meters. This is Nova Scotia, Canada. This megalithic site is called with the simple name Big Hill. No research has been conducted so far at this location. Alberta, Canada. The location is called Cypress Hill Interprovincial Park, and the stones are called Cypress Hill stones. And what you see now is actually in New York City on Brighton Beach. There are thousands and thousands of stones, many of them with a regular parallelepiped shape, that bear various marks, obviously showing that they have been a part of a megalithic structure at some point in the past. Some people who cannot visit Brighton Beach in person find interesting things even from a distance using Google Earth. For example, here you see at least two pieces of a column. Many of them have interesting carvings. Of course, some of those carvings, or even maybe all of them, could have been added later on after these stones were placed on the beach. However, I think the chances are that most or all of them are actually authentic old carvings. And the reason is that, first of all, we can see signs of erosion on them, weather erosion, and to imitate that, it is possible, however, is quite difficult and would require a very highly specialized labor. Ordinary beach artists would not do this. And the other reason for which I think that most or all of the carvings would be authentic is that many of them are partially buried under the sand. And if a beach artist was creating something just like that on the beach, he wouldn't dig and work underground and then cover it again. And of course, as usual, there is absolutely no information what was the original location of the rocks, where did they come from, where do they belong. Ukrainian miners near the city of Donetsk stumbled by chance on this wheel that was imprinted in the layers of coal, or I don't know what exactly precisely is the material, but the layers that it was found in dated some 300 million years ago. Now this megalithic site is called Shaori and is located in Georgia. By Georgia I mean the ex-Soviet Union Georgia and not the state of Georgia in US. Another interesting location in Georgia is the Vardzia complex. Although various cultures have left their imprint here, you can see some pretty recent creations along with the ancient ones. The differences in the styles are obvious. Most likely this is a part of the vast complex of vast network of underground cities, which is best seen in Turkey. I have a long video specifically on this topic on my channel. It's called Cappadocia, Cities Built When We Were Monkeys. Actually, now they look like caves, but these are rooms of underground cities now laid barren, and most likely, same as Cappadocia, the initial structure was dug millions of years ago.
Or, to be more precise, during the time that the current mainstream historians label as the period millions of years ago. Since their dating methods are unreliable, it doesn't mean that it actually happened millions of years ago. It could be quite different as well.
This megalithic structure is called Absheron and is located in Azerbaijan. This mysterious wall is located in Krasnodarsky Krai, Russia, and of course nobody has got any idea what this is. And yet another megalith with huge stones as high almost as a human. Needless to say that they're very heavy. You can see the location marked on the map with a green comma-like mark. Needless to say, nobody has got any idea at all who could have built this. Similar megalithic site in very bad condition, obviously, again, and in the same area of the world, so to say, bearing a similar architectural style, if we can say so, is the megalith of the mount called Pidan. Pidan is located in the area of Russia called Primorsky Krai, or region Primorsky. The name of this location is Island of the Faith, and it is in Chelyabinskaya Oblast, Russia. All around are scattered remains of megalithic structure that is now fallen apart, and they continue underwater. apparently the water levels were different, very different at the time when this was all built. This stone wall reaches the height of 15 meters and is called the Stone City or the Stone Town of Ekaterinburg. It is a man-made wall. I have reviewed it in great detail in another video that is devoted exclusively to the megaliths of the Ural Mountains. All around, the loose building blocks are scattered. They have absolutely regular parallelepiped shape. So there is no question of the natural origin of this wall. It is not a geological formation. At places, even building materials still can be seen in between the stones. The first few rows are of stones with again very regular shape, perfect parallelepipeds, and this is like 4 rows in the base of the wall. And by the way, this is valid for a full group of similar archaeological sites. It's over a dozen of them, concentrated in a few regions of Russia. I have not included all of them in my video because they're so similar that one won't be able to make any difference. But these are not isolated cases. There has been a civilization that built numerous buildings of distinct style and building technique. Now this looks very similar, but it's actually a completely different wall. I don't know, some 100 or 200 kilometers away from the first one, but basically in the same region and having absolutely the same characteristics as the previous one. This location is called Petrogrom and is again in the mountains of Ural. Now, although this is pretty similar, it is actually in Macedonia, and it is labeled as some sort of ancient observatory, but to me it looks more like enormous ancient megalithic building that has melted down and fallen apart beyond recognition. The name of this so-called observatory is Kokino and is again located in Macedonia. Now this is a megalith built underground. It is not chiseled out in the rock. It is actually built out of enormous megalithic stone blocks. The full thing is actually resembles very much the chambers of the Great Pyramid in Giza, and I have a full-length video on my channel about this very interesting archaeological site. It is very deep. We cannot even imagine how could have handled these huge blocks underground, and is located in the Russian Republic of Kabardino-Balkaria. And it is not the only one of its kind. This is in the same region of Russia, Kabardino-Balkaria, and that is in the region of Caucasus. This one is kind of smaller, only 80 meters deep. And now I want to take you back to Japan, back to Yonaguni. What you see now is actually on the shore very near to Yonaguni. Although looking at this separately, it would look mostly like a natural formation. Now please remember those megalithic walls in Russia. First of all, they look so similar as if the same builder made all of them. Second of all, those in Russia were actually in the region that is very near to Japan. I have a separate full-length video where I show most definitely that the Russian sites are man-made, or let's say made of intelligent being, because probably this was so long ago that we don't know even if the dominating form on Earth were humans. Maybe it was something else. And since the Russian sites are definitely intelligently made, I wouldn't be surprised one day if we find out that this is applicable to this what you see on the screen now in Japan as well.
This megalithic wall in New Zealand is yet another interesting site that still awaits for somebody to study it. Officially, this full mountain has been carved by some unknown Amazon primitive tribe more than 1,000 years ago. This doesn't seem like some sort of credible story. Why would they do so? With what kind of technology would they make all these seeds? It looks like some sort of quarry. Moreover, it bears the signs of erosion, which according to that very same official history should have taken many thousands of years, if not millions, because the edges are well rounded. Another question is, where is all the stone that has been removed? It is not to be seen anywhere around. They are Inca-style constructions that you see right now on the right-hand side, but they are built of different type of stone.
Oh,
are 15 and 20-ton stones embedded in the structure. And the idea that a colonist would do that is, doesn't really seem to make sense. There's the two largest stones at the site are 45 and 70 tons. The largest stone in the Great Pyramid of Giza is 70 tons also. Equinox Chamber. This is one of hundreds of these structures in New England. Fell checking out the area. Look at how big it is. 9 14-foot long, over 3-ton stones comprise weight. 10 10-foot slabs, beautifully made. Chamber in New York, one of the largest ones in the country. That is a 7-foot standing stone. This is in New Salem, Massachusetts. 10 by 5-foot capstone, one stone over 10,000 pounds, 6 feet in the air. You would have to be a culture in the Northeast, that was widely dispersed, hundreds of thousands of people, to build these structures. If they're, hundreds and hundreds of miles apart, it just doesn't make a logical sense.
Shiva, 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 Shankara Adidev, Shankara Adidev, Shambhu Bholanath, Shambhu Bholanath, Yogi Mahadeva, Shiva, 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 Shiva. Mahabali Shiva, Mahabali Shiva, Adi Anta Shiva, Adi Anta Shiva, Purana Sakala Kaja, Hara Hara Mahadeva, Shiva, 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 Shankara Adidev, Shankara Adidev, Shambhu Bholanath, Shambhu Bholanath, Yogi Mahadeva, Shiva, 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 Shankara Adideva, Shiva, 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 Shankara Adi. Shiva 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 Shankara Adideva Shiva Shambho Bholanath Shambho Bholanath Shiva Shankara Shiva Shiva Shankara Adideva Shiva Shiva Shankara Adideva Shiva 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 Shankara Shankara Adideva Shiva 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 Shambhu Bholanath Shambhu Bholanath Bholanath Shambhu Shambhu Bholanath Shiva.
This is the site of Mount Nemrut in Turkey. We can only see what's kind of in front of the main thing. The main thing is covered with a hill of rubble. So-called historians assure us that some primitive people covered it for, I will not even discuss what reason, sometime in the past. I find it very hard to believe that they have been specially going around, probably for many miles, selecting stones of uniform size and carrying them, I don't know, with basket or donkeys, or how, to the site. There aren't that many pebbles of uniform size in the area occurring naturally. The full hill seems to be looks like some sort of industrial product or byproduct. So this is strange to start with. Not less strange is the explanation why the pile of rubble is still there. After all, this is one of the most famous Turkish tourist sites. It brings a lot of good flow of money to the country, and they have all the interest to excavate it as soon as possible to attract more tourists. So the official authorities are assuring us that number of times they have been trying to penetrate inside this hill of rubble and see what is in there, and every time the explorers failed due to the fact that the stones started falling on their heads. Turkey is a pretty large country, so it didn't strike anybody's mind that you have to remove the pebbles first. Strange, they could always figure it out when it came to building, for example, the numerous high-tech tunnels they have in their country. Over there they could calculate that you dig the stuff out, put it in lorries and dispose of it. Actually, the removal works for making, for example, highway tunnels are much more sophisticated and much more difficult. So how come they could make tunnels in their country but could not figure out how to put at least part of the pebbles on lorries and put them away? This video features a very small portion of the megaliths on our planet. Please visit megaliths.org, where you will find an interactive map of thousands of most amazing sites.